got a post.
Not that I'm referring to you, of course, Mohamed.
Mohamed Radwan has got another post talking about PowerShell and how he's using it to automate one of his processes. And in this case, it's the backlog. He wants to automate that TFS 2013 backlog, and he goes into a number of details on getting the script, and it's actually a pretty long script, but he's goes nice pictures, nice examples, and in the end, this script does what? It exports categories, it renames a bug to custom bugs, it does just a whole bunch of assign to columns, work items, renaming, changing, closing, all these things all in one fairly monstrous script. So
it's good stuff. Mohamed's one of our great MVPs. We've got some really great TFS people in Egypt. Quite a lot of the TFS team actually. There's quite a few Egyptians in the TFS team as well. But Mohamed's one of I hate to mention another one of these ALM MVPs, but he is based out of Egypt, and he's done some great stuff. So it's a really interesting post.
Yeah. And so to be sure we're clear, it's automating the customization of the backlog, not automating the backlog itself, but a massive customization for that backlog.
Yeah, so this is so you can repeat that customization. You want to do it on lots of, say, team projects, or lots of, you have a way of working that you want to roll out across a customer. You can practice the customization first in your little test instance, and then have it scripted so you can just deploy it overnight to your main production server. So
your project collections, your build servers, your proxy servers, and you can find more information about this. There's actually one Microsoft MVP, Mohamed Radwan, who's written up a short little blog post about the management pack itself, which you can find at tinyurl.com/scomtfs. That's SCOMTFS. And he's got a little layout of some of the basics of what the management pack can do. But it's a free management pack if you're using Operations Manager.
And so when I saw this post, again by Mohamed Radwan, he was on a tear. You guys, you listeners out there, you need to go to his blog, and you can get it via the tinyurl.com VSTS for this specific post, and that'll lead you to his other posts. He was seriously on a tear in the last couple of weeks. He's been doing the SOCOM stuff, the upgrade to SourceSafe stuff. He's announcing some training things that he's doing. If you guys are in the TFS space and you're interested, subscribe to his blog. But anyway, he was talking about the upgrading Visual SourceSafe to Team Foundation Server, and he does a pictorial walkthrough. And we've talked about the tool that was released to make it happen, but he makes this even easier to do. The tool is pretty easy to use, but he makes it brain dead easy to get started with it. If you're like me and you like the click, click, click and the picture kind of documentation with a bunch of arrows, making it dummy proof, this post is for you for doing that upgrade.
The newly revamped Team Explorer. And Mohamed, again, has a great blog post out there on what's new and different in the Team Explorer. Now, you can see this blog post at tinyurl.com/new2012TE. That's NEW 2012TE. And in his blog post, he does a detailed talk about what's new in Team Explorer. The Team Explorer window in 2005 and 2008 and 2010 was pretty much the same thing, the same kind of window with a little of enhancements every time.
It was written by Brian Ricky.
Yes.
Sorry. That window, most of that code was actually written by Brian Harry as well, by the way.
Oh, well, that explains it.
a significant chunk of it was, I seem to remember. So yeah, they ripped it all out between branches as a pull request inside of VSO.
So we've been talking about upgrading a lot. Mohamed Radwan has released both a little command line tool as well as a description of it to help you estimate your time for the migrating of your projects to VSO.
Wow.
How long would it take, approximately, given a number of counts of change sets and changes and counts of files and work items and histories of work items and that kind of stuff. But he gives a it just gives you, it kind of just an idea.
Yeah. It's not a complete guess. It's kind of like a ballpark estimate based on the volumes of data you have.
Exactly. It's like, is it an hour? Is it a day? Is it a week? And it's nice. It shows it right in an little Excel spreadsheet, and you can scan through and take a look at it. So I definitely want to thank him for releasing that and giving that out to the community.
That's awesome. That's really thanks, Mohamed.
It gives us a bit of a quicker way to interact with people. So Mohamed Radwan actually has a post out here about Trello and VSTS integration, and he walks you through specifically how to wire those two platforms together and synchronize information between the two of them, so you can submit new work items or other items from Trello directly and have it go into your...
Anyway, so thought it was worth calling out.
Awesome. Talking about overviews, Mohamed Radwan talks about a release management overview for TFS and VSTS. If you're, kind of like me, and we've been talking about, you've been hearing about release management, but you haven't really looked at it as much as you probably should, this is a great post. It's short, it's sweet, it's management safe, lots of pretty pictures and arrows and stuff. So if you're trying to sell your management team or your ops guys or whomever, your peers, this is a nice post to do that. And it kind of outlines the differences between VSTS and TFS related to release management. It talks about one of the things you always worry, right?
There we go. And then, so when you are migrating, there's some different options. Mohamed Radwan's got some options there.
Yeah, Mohammed's post is nice. This is, the whole migrating it using Ops Hub and source control and work items and the whole bit. So once you get
using different ways of doing it, it's cool.
Yeah.
Yep, and the pros and cons.
Yep. So one of the things
he liked, and then Mohamed Radwan, he posted about the delivery plans extension. We mentioned in a previous show how it was going into GA and is available now for people to use. There's no additional charge. It's all awesome. And Mohamed from the UK just delve into the delivery plans extension and kind of gives quite a nice summary about what it is and how it works and how you can use it. So I actually found that quite useful. So it's a good post to read.
Cool. And importantly, probably for a lot of you guys are, I want to upgrade from 2012 to 2013. The TFS 2013 Upgrade Guide V3 is now available. So
we buried the lead. That's like the most important thing of the whole show. Never mind.
And this is, a guide that I'm going to have to read. It's not that long. I can't remember the page count, but it's, 100-ish, 123, I think, or so. It's really not that long. That's because there's a lot of screenshots and stuff in it. But, if you're you're worried about doing the upgrade, you've kind of been holding off, you got to check out this guide.
Obviously, there's a million ways you can do anything, right? And Mohamed, I'm going to try it out. Radwan, I think. Fellow ALM MVP. Yeah, he still says ALM MVP, not the Visual Studio something development, something about technologies. I'll never switch. I'll always say ALM. But yes, he has a post on using the integration platform to migrate TFS 2017 to VSTS. So he goes through telling you how you get your environment ready. Takes you through the steps of migration. He tells you, obviously, note that the tool itself is deprecated. He tells you what is supported and what won't be supported. It's quite a nice in-depth post walking you through how to perform that migration. It's quite cool. It's going to be left behind. So, but yeah, it's quite an in-depth post.
I thought it was funny. I mean, just we had Martin Hinchelwood on just last show. And then we had this big old post. Mohamed writes this great post about Martin's tool.
Yeah.
I just had to laugh at that.
Yeah, it's often what happens, and I'm assuming the other guys do it because it's what I do as well, is you do something and it's like, okay, well, I'm either going to remember this in my head or I'm going to write it in some way for myself, or I can just blog about it. Other people can read about it. And then when I don't know how to do this later, I can go back to my blog post. And you generally try to make sure your blog's up and you don't lose any data there. So it's the perfect place to store stuff that you want to remember for later. Because everyone knows you put it in SharePoint, you're never going to find it again.
So There was another post here that I wanted to definitely call out. Jesse Howing did this one, and Mohamed Radwan did the VSTS post, and that's a really nice post. It talks about the differences between the dashboards. Jesse Howing has this ongoing post he wrote like 1 million years ago, and this has to be, if you are supporting TFS, and you're doing it like in the real world where you have multiple versions of TFS and multiple versions of Visual Studio, you have to pin this. You have to get this. The title of it is Connecting to TFS from Any Version of Visual Studio. And literally, it's any version. He first wrote it back in 2013, and he's continuing to update it. So from including VB6, Visual Studio.NET, Visual Studio 2013 on Windows XP, connecting to TFS 2012, all of this stuff is here from every version of Visual Studio that you can possibly imagine is on this post.